I'm 101.
Wow.
November 12, 1921. Marsland, it started 1957. Rod was in grade 5 at the time. We had to get something reasonably close, reasonably inexpensive. We had 5 children with another one on the way. I didn't have a car, so we needed something that was reasonably accessible by bicycle. And so we, Betty and I took Rod and we went down to Canterbury Road and met Brother Ludovic, who was the headmaster. And we arranged for him to start at Canterbury Road the following year in year 7. The association then kind of continued because the boys were pretty close together and followed on rapidly. So I've been around Marshall and Maris now since what, 1957.
As we're here to acknowledge Anzac Day, we'd love to hear about your experience in the army during World War II. How old were you when you joined the army?
Well, unofficially, I joined the army at 17. I picked my age. This was in March 39. An artillery unit that was based there doing their training. By the time we got around to having the camp, war had started in September 39. We arrived in Darwin. I was 18 and a half in end of May, beginning of June 1940. We finished up out at a place called, an area called Fanny Bay, on the site of the old Bestie's Meatworks abattoirs. But it suited the army because they had something to work on because they was only on a temporary basis. And so we went there and we were there for about 5 or 6 months whilst they finished building the permanent barracks in at Larrakia, which is just on Darwin outskirts. Every second Thursday we used to march into the city and then walk back to barracks. Gradually then, 1941, we noticed a start of a build-up of troops. We thought, oh, something must be building, or something must be coming on or going to happen. And then, of course, there was the talk of the Japanese, and then ultimately at the end of 1941, the Japanese in Pearl Harbor. The bombing came in February 42, and that woke everybody up. And as a result of that, there was a big exodus. At 18, to land in Darwin amongst a whole lot of other fellas. And the fact that I was let loose amongst them on my own with no backup, family, friends, or anything else, it was a little bit to cope with, but I managed it. It taught me a lot. One of the main things it taught me was that you can't do things on your own. You've got to have a help. You've got to have a mate or help from above. And if it's not readily available, you've got to organise it. In those days, we had to learn how to handle all sorts of things, but we had to learn to rely on our mate, so we had to make sure that he was all right too. You have to be careful who you chose as your mate. Anzac spirit is a nebulous kind of a thing. It would only be something that ex-servicemen would be able to talk about or comment on. And each of them would have a different interpretation of it. Anzac spirit to me is just a confirmation of camaraderie and the fact that you're dependent on others. You can't do things on your own. And that's, I think, what was built up with the original Anzacs. It was a matter of not so much self-help, but what can you do to help the next bloke, because he's in trouble. And if you get him organised, well, then he'll be able to, in turn, he'll be able to help you.
Well, Gerry, we are so privileged and honoured to be able to speak to you today and hear the human reality of war. Thank you, Gerry, very much for inviting us into your home.